my whole mindset was like, I don't want to do real estate. And I don't want to be an entrepreneur. That was like the entire, like, as I was growing up, like, I'm going to get a job. I'm going to do corporate America. I'm going to work my way up the ladder. I'm going to have steady security, safety, right?
Mm-hmm.
And I have not, had a job since I was in my 20s. And it's interesting because I fought like heck to get my brother out of corporate America, right? To come on board and work with us. And he did, 20 years of corporate America. And when we were growing up, he was never going to do corporate. He was always going to be the entrepreneur.
Amazing.
How did you see yourself when you were growing up?
Oh man. So did you ever read that book, Rich Dad, Poor Dad?
Uh-huh. Mm-hmm.
Kiyosaki. So love my parents, great people, two poor dads. I'm the only kid in my family that does not have a master's degree. And my parents were total academics, both of them college professors, PhDs, multiple masters. So for them, the academic work for someone else was always the path in life. And I wandered and, was lost for a while, doing the yoga teacher, traveling around the world. I was in the circus for a while. I was a rock climber, all kinds of, weird stuff. And then when I met
Hold on,
Jeff.
you were in the circus for a while.
Yes,
You just
I
like
was.
slip that in, just thought we'd go
Yep.
right by it without getting into that.
Yeah, just trying to find my way. And
What was what act were you in? What role?
stilt walking and clowning and some
Still walking.
trapeze.
Very cool.
Yeah. So when I met
Has Jeff ever
Jeff,
seen you on stilt walking and clowning and
he's
trapeze?
seen me as a clown.
Good.
Yes, he's seen me as a clown. That's true. Yes, but I don't think maybe he's seen me on stilts once or twice. But yeah, and I
See,
and also for those of you that are listening and not on video, I'm 5 feet tall. So to see a 5 foot tall short little girl on stilts is pretty silly. But so when I met Jeff 10 years ago. And he works in finance. Jeff is sort of a boy wonder when it comes to economics. He called the real estate bubble in 2006. He created the IRA Association of America in 2003. He brought the solo 401k to market in 2006. He's always been so forward thinking when it comes to economics, the Austrian school of economics, and teaching principles of hard money, early gold investor, early Bitcoin investor. And I just had no clue about any of this stuff. None. I had a degree in theater, from college. I didn't
how'd you
I didn't
guys
know
meet?
anything. We met through a mutual friend, in a marketing mentor. So, and this is really, you talk about, the different paths that you go in life. I just really fell in love with finance, and I really fell in love with entrepreneurship. And it was totally the antithesis to what I grew up with, because I grew up with a couple of academics in, the medical field. My mom was a nurse anesthetist. My dad was a pharmacologist. Nobody that I knew, ran their own business. Nobody that I knew was an entrepreneur. Nobody was in finance. It was all just work the corporate job, get the 401k, get the gold watch at the end of 40 years, and you're done. So I really fell in love with entrepreneurship, and specifically with finance, going on 10 or 11 years ago. And I just really feel fulfilled by it. One of my mentors told me, you can hate taxes and love the tax code. And that's something that I've lived by for a long time now.
I don't know if I could ever love the tax code. I don't know, like
Man, there's
the
so
word
much in
love.
there. There's so much in there that can really be worked to your benefit. There's a
I
lot of things
agree. I
that's
just
worked
don't
to
know
your
that I could
benefit.
use the word love.
Yeah, look, the IRS, we have a love-hate relationship. Okay, we understand that each other exists, and we try to let each other live peacefully. But especially for investors and entrepreneurs and small business owners, we often get hammered the worst when it comes to taxes. We really do, even though.
Especially when you don't know.
Oh man. And even though small business owners, we are the true engine of the US economy, the ones that employ the most people, that generate a lot of wealth for the United States, but we're hammered when it comes to taxes. So I think if you can know ways in the tax code that are legal, that are compliant, that can save you a lot of money, then man, that's my own. You were talking about activism earlier. That's my own still small revolution that I still, carry with me, is how can we be an activist for and have this compliant legal little revolution of having sovereignty over our own money.
I mean, I just believe we deserve to keep our own money, right?
For
Like
sure.
we
You're
work
the one
so
that worked for it, not
work
the
so
IRS.
hard. We're
Yeah.
work so, but nobody's like tell me a person, right, that like you could really legitimately ask a question, look them in the eyes, right, and see if they respond back to you and say, you know what, I think when our government takes on an initiative and they have tons and tons of money, they do it incredibly effectively, right? Like I can't think of somebody who would say, yeah, they totally do, the election polling, they totally build, the roads and the construction, they absolutely, like, maybe in our safety, right? Maybe in the protection of us, our military, right? Maybe there's a place where they're super effective, but it's the difference is the military is fighting for their life and it's independent leadership, right? And our military that builds our military and grows our military, right? But at the same time, like we had to, right, as a country, pull
Well, even just
together in that way. But that's not government though, in the sense it's like a different kind of way of government. But
Well, even just look at the coronavirus. I believe it was the economist Milton Friedman who said there's nothing so permanent as a temporary government program.
mhm.
And, all of this stuff with the coronavirus that has now come out as far as this inflated stimulus and all of this money printing, that's not going to stop unless something, I think, really dire happens. And I know that they're trying to rein it in. Originally Biden wanted something like 2.7 trillion in this most, or 2.3 trillion, excuse me, in this most recent stimulus package. Then it got down to 1.7. I think they're trying to get it down even further. The government is never going to waste a good crisis.